Hello y'all, just some pre-video fast facts. First of all, this talk is part of my more official work, which you can find more in the link below. This video covers a Brony's exploration of media fandom's influence across the globe, specifically comparing US and South Africa. I just want to tell you, while I will discuss future doc works on this channel, I likely won't post full videos. I have other channels for that and don't want to cross the stream, so to speak. As for future content of this channel, I can happily report my What Went Wrong with Season 3 video is fully in production, with my personal audio recorded and several interviews collected and being edited as we speak, or as I speak. Whatever. Look forward to it soon, and I hope you enjoy my feature presentation. No, this footage is not from Comic-Con, but A&G 2014. A&G, short for Animation and Gaming, is one of several conventions in the greater Cincinnati area that draws thousands of fans from various fandoms.
Black Butler is an anime, and I really love the originality in it. I love the voice acting, I love the artwork, and the storyline is what really gets me. It's mainly about not letting fear take over and always hanging on to your goals.
Let me guess, are you dressed as your favorite character?
Yes, I'm dressed as the main character, CL Phantom Hive.
Whew. What is a brony? Wow, that's there are quite a lot of definitions out there as far as what I think. I think fundamentally you have to start with, of course, a love of the show. But why am I a brony is actually more for the fandom itself.
The moment that got me to start watching My Little Pony, that hooked me into the fandom, was reaction images. They would post them online, they would show up on various forums, and I decided that these are funny and I had to find out what they were attached to. So I watched the first episode, liked it, and I just kept on watching episodes.
Well, I mean, I always knew about My Little Pony. It came out when I was a kid. My sister was into it. I got into the newer one when I heard that Lauren Faust was working on it. I saw the infamous Cartoon Brew article that criticized it and stuff. So I thought, hey, I'll check it out. And I ended up really liking it.
A persona is something that somebody attaches themselves to. Like myself, I'm a husky. So my persona would be a husky.
You're meeting someone for the first time and you don't know anything about them other than their persona. And for furries, that's a lot easier to accept. And then by sharing your art, sharing your suits, whatever it is, you get to know that person.
I think the main part about furries is that they like to take part in the community more than anything else. Most people in the furry fandom are generally very friendly and nice, and just people can make good friends among each other and have similar interests, and that's really what it's about.
Everybody enjoys watching the alternate reality of movies, whether it be action movies, sci-fi movies, comedy, drama. I mean, anything connects a whole bunch of subcultures. I remember from my early childhood, Lion King, talking animals, stuff like that. That's pretty much what brought me into the fandom.
One thing that's been really cool is seeing how different countries are really starting to fall in love with My Little Pony. As an anime fan, I was really excited to see it come out in Japan, and the IDW comics actually just started to come out in Japan, and that was really cool to see happen. So I feel like it really helps connect, having the same interests help connect everyone.
I just met a Sebastian cosplayer who is the demon in the show, and instantly he and I became friends because we were part of this fandom. We instantly just clicked.
We can all relate to some things on some levels, and that would be great if the show could bring people together. I mean, it already has brought people together. I mean, just look at this con, or well, look at BronyCon, how many people that brings together. But if it could also bring us together across borders, across countries, that would be great. I would just be so happy if that happened.
See, I consider myself an explorer of fandoms since about 2012, after my documentary work at Canterlot Gardens covering Bronies. You need a reminder what a Brony is. However, my interest soon spread to the wider fandom culture. And when NKU offered the chance to take my cultural safari international, I leapt at the opportunity. And what better place for a safari than Africa? South Africa, to be specific. Our base city of operations was Port Elizabeth, or as the locals like to call it, PE. PE has a long history in manufacturing, particularly the auto industry. They used to boast about being the Detroit of South Africa, until Detroit, well, became Detroit, and they have since distanced themselves from that comparison. PE currently boasts about their beautiful beaches, however, being a location in the 2010 FIFA World Cup and also home to many quality restaurants. My classmates took advantage of those restaurants to sample South Africa's affordable quality wine, while I savored Americanos at gas station prices. However, this is no vacation or documentary on women in the coffee industry. That's my professor's doc. I had fanboys and girls to track down. Our partner university for this trip, NMMU, it turns out had an expert on campus right up my alley.
My name is Miss Janelle Vermaak. I'm the program coordinator for the BA Media Communication and Culture degree. My primary focus with teaching is film studies and script writing, but my primary focus for my PhD at the moment is fandom and fan cultures, primarily within an online environment. And I'm going to be looking at the alien films primarily, but not the films per se. This is not going to be a film analysis. I want to look at how fans interact with one another. I want to look at the way in which fans understand each other, they understand their fandom, how they appropriate their fandom and allow their fandom to become part of them. I know, for example, that I'm a huge Alien fan, and I blame this on my dad. Was when I was a very young girl, he used to read stories to us, and what he used to do is there's this wonderful Afrikaans book called Die Jeugbundel that is basically Afrikaans versions of Grimm fairy tales. And then obviously when my brother and I were young-ish, like, I mean, I must have been about 10 or 12, my folks went out for the afternoon and my dad decided to rent all 3 Alien films for us to watch. Obviously I couldn't sleep for the next few weeks, but the point is just that that's kind of what has ingrained itself in me. So thanks, Dad, you know, because that is basically what has created my passion and love for the xenomorph. I'm actually going to be starting with my focus groups very soon. Calling all people that are interested in doing being part of a focus group on understanding fandom, specifically with relation to the Alien fans. And I'm going to be talking to them about how do they identify themselves as an Alien fan? How would people know that they're an Alien fan? And what's so exciting about this subject is that, you know, you've got your brown coats, you've got your Whovians, you've got your Twahards, you've got you know, your fans of all of these different film franchises that have been named and that are often very proud of their names. And yet the Alien fans, or the fans that are, you know, the people that are fans of the Alien quadrilogy as well as Prometheus, don't seem to really have a name. And what I want to do is not necessarily name them, but what I want to do is try to understand them. Because obviously, you know, interaction between the film and the viewer at first was very limited, where you could only write back to, like, literally it was through snail mail, write to, you know, the publications and things like that. And it's become so much easier now where you can actually engage with one another, engage with fans from, you know, across the world instantly through social media, like such as Facebook and Twitter and things like that. Where I see fandom going, well, at the moment fandom is huge, but I think it's primarily also not necessarily a South African thing. I think what we're going to be seeing is that fandom, especially if we are able to actually harness the power of online fans.
My name's Dion Peterson. I'm from PE. When I left to England in 2007, and before I left, there wasn't really much of a community going on here. But when I came back, I just noticed that people were starting to get big into TV shows, and that sort of opened up to things like watching Firefly or Buffy, and people would get these old shows, and people started to become more aware of, I would say, the geek community here in PE. It feels like it's a snowball right now. It's forming into a bigger thing right now. It's getting its momentum going. If you look at the Rage Expo from 2 years ago, it had really small numbers compared to it now. Now there's hundreds and thousands of people who go around there. A lot of people are becoming more involved in fandoms. It's become more accepted, especially in a town like PE, where it's a very conservative type of town. People are starting to open up and accept things like cosplay and the geek community here.
Through Dion, I was able to get a contact that gave me 2 more contacts via Facebook that led to 3 interviews with PE's elusive cosplayers. I still held on to hope, while simultaneously filming coverage for a backup documentary on my classmates making their documentaries. However, if you have not noticed, this documentary is still on Fandoms and not Meta. Spoilers, I didn't need the backup. So yeah, my documentary is itself an example of social media's effects on fandoms.
Oh yes, I'm Alec Bayman. I'm a jeweler by trade, but I've always loved gaming, and I've always done the cosplay thing, but never really for gaming or anime itself. We do our annual medieval fair. I used to get involved in that, but now I'm getting more into the gaming side of cosplay as well. The biggest one for me was the Assassin's Creed universe. I mean, it hooked me right from the beginning, and that Hidden Blade, I think that drove so many people nuts, trying to figure out how it worked, can they build it. A lot of guys have actually built working models. I focused on making mine out of actual metal and that, but obviously for safety reasons I couldn't have it actually spring-loaded or anything like that, but I'm pretty happy with the way mine turned out though. I don't know if you want to have a look at this prop on the video. Like I said, this is from the Thief reboot. This is his grappling tool which he uses. It's going to be connected to a cable eventually and tied around the whole harness. But this is hand built from scratch, and it's sort of a release like that. It's supposed to extend slightly further, but I need a bit of a stronger spring just to get it out to that point. But I'll say once again, it's basically, I've taken a picture of what he uses and I had to figure out all the mechanics for myself, because there's just nothing available to actually show you that kind of thing.
Hi, I'm Kaylee Moss, but my cosplay alias is Sayuki Koshiri.
I'm Jessie. I'm Jessie Ocean. My cosplay alias is Nakashi. Resonance Cosplay is our group consisting of us, me and her. I'm a big fan of Lord of the Rings and Star Wars fandom and gaming, and pretty much Dragon Age is my favorite game series, and the anime, which is pretty up there. So.
Now, is there any specific show or something that you're like really a big fan of?
Fairy Tail. I love it so much. I got it on my arm. It's a real tattoo. It's real. 2 months ago, we actually created a mini event called Connect, like our own sort of mini con, which was all her idea.
Yeah, it was basically a way to bring fandom into this small city, because there's lots of people that know about it, but they don't know who to connect with fellow fans. So we organized an event in March, and we called that Connect, and it was PE's first event for fandom and pop culture, basically.
Well, I think most people had it in them, they just didn't have that many people with them to grow their hobby. But now we're all coming out and joining together and enjoying it.
One lesson I learned way back at Canterlot Gardens is often your best interviews are unplanned. Well, unexpected to be specific. The same was true for my trip to South Africa. I didn't expect to stumble upon an interview opportunity for a doc on narrative media's effects on society while on our class's tour and overnight stay at a South African township.
Okay, my name is Simpiwe. My surname is Laksa. I'm 27 years old, and I'm with the organization called Youth Embassy Creative Movement. The most thing that I love about cartoons is that, like I said earlier, that for example, if at home there is no bread for me to eat, while I'm in the process of watching cartoons, I tend to forget that or switch it off and be in a moment where I'm laughing, I'm happy, and I'm entertained. So I love cartoons a lot. They help a lot in terms of a lot of people are stressed because of their thinking too much. But when you watch cartoons, you get to laugh more, you get to relax more. Even your body gets to be in a relaxed position where it's not thinking a lot, and yeah, it's just in a relaxed position. So that's why I love cartoons. And in Tom and Jerry, it's just, they try to teach us something, but when we're young, we don't know what we're learning and stuff. So when we get to a certain age, we get to an age where we realize that we need each other in this world. Like for instance, there's one episode that I can remember of Tom and Jerry where Jerry was outside and Tom was inside, and Tom felt sorry for Jerry because it was cold, it was snowing, and he actually tried to go and help him out. And then Tom brought Jerry inside and he gave him a blanket and it was warm. And then Jerry turned on Tom, and Tom ended up being the one who was outside, who was kicked outside by the landlord. And Jerry was the one who was inside. And that to me just showed that even though sometimes we feel like we want to hit each other, we want to fight against each other, at the end of the day, we do need each other to survive.
I learned a lot on my stay in South Africa, like sweet corn and pineapples make a surprisingly good combo, while media professors and Godzilla films are a not surprisingly bad combo.
Yeah, and I was like, really? You kept Mothra and let it grow and let it get to the point where it was going to hatch because you were studying it, you idiot? Like, who does that?
Malaria medication is unnecessary for a stay in South Africa, unless you enjoy flu-like symptoms on a 16-hour plane flight. And Game of Thrones is popular everywhere. However, I still had one last unanswered question I traveled a continent to answer. Do you believe narrative media can connect people across cultures?
Definitely.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'll say once again, I bring things back to Facebook as well. You can see people across the world actually, you know, getting into huge discussions about animes and costumes.
We make friends with so many people we never thought we'd make friends with. Like one of a good friend of mine who's 35 years old. I wouldn't have met him any other way if I didn't know he liked the same game I liked.
If you like the same types of movies or you like the same types of films, then immediately it creates a connection, and you are able to actually, you know, you've got something in common with someone.
You can come from like two different cultures, but if you have that same passion, that same love for these worlds, these characters, it can bring people together, despite where they come from.
I believe so because tonight I actually found out that the man interviewing me himself, he is also a Tom and Jerry fan. So in a way it does link us one way or the other because of we have something in common. We have a common ground that we can start our communication based on. So I do believe that, yes.
Just like what you want. If people give you crap about it, who cares? They aren't worth it.